This video is going to be looking at changing climate to help you develop your answers to this question. There was a really tricky question in this, so think about what it is you need to do to develop that question in particular. First bit was fairly straightforward. Figure 2 shows the global patterns of carbon dioxide emissions and then describe the differences in CO2 emissions. Pick up on the differences. Most of you picked up that most of the emissions were in the Northern Hemisphere. Most of you picked up there were exceptions, such as Australia or India, which is another Northern Hemisphere country, but it's significantly lower figures. Okay, and it's about picking up those variations, picking up those differences, and picking up the changes in the graph. Okay, so just be aware of that and develop those ideas. But make sure you get 2 marks for it. So 1 mark for the idea, 1 mark for the extension. Next question. This was a lack of revision, which has scuppered you here. Describe the pattern of temperature and rainfall in the UK. So, it was about thinking about the variations across the country of where the most rainfall is and where the least rainfall is, and then the temperature variations as well. Where was the most, where was the least? And it's about spatial distribution, spatial pattern. So, what did you get? Warmest in the south in the summer, warmest in the west in the winter, warmest in the lowlands, or opposite, relating to coldest data. 1 mark, 1 mark, 1 mark. It was description questions, be aware of that. And then the rainfall, wettest in the west, wettest in the highland, or opposite, so it's just driest in the east. Again, picking up on those ideas and developing it. Once you actually thought about it, the question wasn't that difficult, but a lot of you really struggled on it. Lots of you also offered explanation as to why, which was very good, but didn't get any credit because the question was described. Read through your answer, check it, and then correct it as you need to. Finally, explain the possible environmental impacts of future climate change. This question was done pretty well on the whole. A lot of you picked up on different changes that were happening and just couldn't actually then extend it with examples of how it was relevant to the UK. So we got ideas that we could get warmer, we could get colder, or more extreme weather, but then didn't necessarily come up with any examples to support it. And that was the critical thing. If you look at the 5 to 6 marks, candidate clearly explains at least 2 UK relevant environmental impacts of climate change. And it was about picking up on those variations, picking up on the evidence to support it. So again, pause it, read through your answer, and then think about what it is you can do to extend it. The example you've got here got 4, and the reason why it didn't get 6 is because it was looking for some evidence to support it, so particularly maybe some crops, particular types of crops, particular type of animals which are going to be suffering. Okay, and therefore that's the development. Okay, if you've done all that, there's a couple of questions here to help you develop. For a named developing country, explain the possible economic impacts of climate change and describe how human activities increase methane and CO2 levels in the atmosphere. Okay, that should help you with the changing climate.